One of these accessibility certifications is a complete waste of your time in 2026. And the worst part, most people pick it first. Right now, people are spending months studying the wrong thing, thinking they are progressing, but they are actually stuck. CPAC, DHS, WS. They look similar, but they are designed for completely different outcomes. And if you don't understand that difference, you won't just feel confused, you will make the wrong move. Now, this might make you uncomfortable, but you might have already picked the wrong one. And that's exactly why this video is important for you. Because by the end of this video, you will know exactly which certification you should be taking and which one you should avoid right now. Because this is not about collecting certification. This is about building a career that actually moves forward. Let me show you what's actually happening. A manual tester clears CPAC, feels confident, understands wai-aria, and can explain guidelines perfectly. But when they are asked to test a real website, they freeze. Because knowing accessibility and applying accessibility are two completely different skills. And you must know what tools to use, what's the right testing routine to follow, and how to report bugs. Automation finds bugs, but humans find real barriers. And most certifications don't teach you that difference. Let's take another example. A tester skips the basics and jumps straight into WS. They think they will figure it out along the way. It sounds good until the exam hits. They fail. Not once, but multiple times. Because WS requires you to know how to code and test. This is where most people give up. Not because they are not capable, but because they choose the wrong entry point. Now here's the simplest definition of each certification. CPAC answers, do you understand accessibility? DHS answers, can you actually test accessibility? And WS answers, can you lead and scale accessibility? That's it. 3 certifications, 3 completely different purposes. But if you treat them the same, you're not just wasting time, you are delaying your growth. Let's start with DHS because this one people underestimate the most. On paper, it looks simple. Free certification that's government backed with structured modules. But here's the truth. This is not a theoretical certification. DHS requires you to actually test the real pages and identify real accessibility issues using the Trusted Tester Conformance Process, or shortly known as TTCP. And this is exactly where most testers struggle. Not because it's difficult, but because they don't follow the TTCP process the way it is intended. DHS is very structured, almost book driven. You have to follow their study guide closely, step by step. This is not a multiple choice exam. You are given sample pages, you need to test them, and based on your finding, you make the correct selection. If you're just getting started, watch my videos on how to register for DHS and my 6-week study plan. They will give you a clear path to follow from day one. So who should take DHS certification? Testers or anyone serious about doing real audits? But here's the catch. DHS makes you good at testing only, not at strategy, not at scaling, and definitely not in influencing senior leadership. This is exactly why people jump to CPAC, thinking it will fix everything. It does not. And if CPAC is the only thing on your resume in 2026, you will be overlooked. Not because it's bad, but because it's incomplete. But this is where most people start, which is completely fine because CPAC gives you something important, the foundation. You learn disability models and assistive technologies, laws and various standards, basics of wai-aria. It builds awareness, but awareness is not execution. Let me say that again. Awareness is not execution. You can explain the why for accessibility and still not know how to audit a single page. I have seen candidates quote wai-aria success criteria word for word, but when asked to test the real form, they don't know where to begin. And that's the gap. So who should take CPAC? Product owners? Yes. Project managers? Definitely. Or anyone who is switching careers. designers, and yes, testers only out of curiosity. But if you stop here, your career will stall as well. Because both DHS and CPAC doesn't teach you how to scale accessibility. And this is where most people make their biggest mistakes. They go straight to WAS too early. WAS is not just testing, it's mastery. You're expected to have deep wai-aria and ARIA understanding, know how to perform full audits, can read and write VPAT, provide technical recommendations, and scale accessibility using maturity models. This is enterprise level work, and this is where organizations start trusting you. But here's the mistake. Most people jump here too early. They think I have done CPACC, I'm ready, but they are not. Because WS assumes you already know how to test. You already understand real issues. You already have experience. If DHS and CPACC teach you how to walk, WS expects you to run. And before we continue, a quick thank you to all our channel members. Your support is what allows me to keep creating in-depth accessibility content. And if you're finding value in this video and want to go deeper, consider joining the channel. You will get early access, deeper insights, and you will be directly supporting the mission of making web more accessible for everyone. Now back to the topic. Let's simplify the differences by evaluating them on 4 critical aspects: fees, type of certification, prior experience needed, and most commonly, time needed to prepare for it. Let's start with the cost, because when it comes to certifications, cost is what drives most people's decisions. DHS is completely free, which is why many people jump into it. CPACC is around $385, so it's moderate investment, and WS is the most expensive, typically $500 or more. So the progression is clear: free, paid, and advanced investments. For many people, especially in emerging economies, cost becomes an even bigger factor. IAAP offers reduced pricing. So in countries like India, CPACC is around $170 and WS is about $225. IAAP also started scholarships for people with financial hardships. Watch this video on how to apply for scholarships. Next is the type of certification. And this is where the real difference starts. DHS is hands-on. You're actually testing applications. CPACC is purely foundational. It's about understanding accessibility. And WS is advanced. It's focused on full audits, reporting, and scaling accessibility. Then we have how much experience is needed to even qualify for these exams. And this is where most people go wrong. DHS is beginner friendly and does not require prior experience, but only if you're willing to practice real testing. CPACC requires at least 1 year of relevant experience. It's designed for beginners, but WS requires you to have 3 to 5 years of relevant experience in the field. Both CPACC and WS vet your resume before your application is approved for certifications. Let's talk about the time commitment. DHS usually takes 4 to 6 weeks if you practice properly. CPACC can be done in about 6 to 8 weeks, and WS even takes longer, typically 10 to 12 weeks, depending upon your experience. So as you move forward, the depth and the time both increases. When you closely look at this table, it's not just 3 certifications, it's a progression. You go from foundation to execution to mastery, and skipping this order is exactly where people struggle. So what should you actually do? If you're starting your accessibility journey, this next decision will shape your entire career, because not everyone should follow the same path. So if you're starting from zero with no accessibility background, go with CPACC, then DHS, then WS. But if you're already in accessibility testing with 2 to 3 years of experience, go for DHS, then WS, and then CPACC, only if you're interested in having CPACC. And if you're already in leadership, working as a QA lead or a project manager, go for CPACC and then for WS. Again, there is no one size fit all, but there is a wrong order. And I learned this the hard way. I went for WS, then CPACC, and then DHS because I was not having the right guidance. So don't be me, learn from my mistakes. Now let's quickly go about what's changing in 2026. Accessibility is no longer optional. This is compliance, this is risk, and organizations are under pressure. And here's the shift. They don't just want people who know accessibility, they want people who can execute it at scale. Because accessibility errors are not technical problems, they are business problems. And this is why having just one certification is not enough anymore. In my honest opinion, don't rush the process. Because this is not about passing exams, this is about building a career. Now, I need you to answer. Which certification are you planning next? And more importantly, what's stopping you? Drop it in the comments. I read every single one. And if you know someone stuck in this confusion, send this video to them. Because this one decision can change their entire career path. This is Param Singh signing off.